Thank God that is over. Is it me or are international weeks getting more and more boring? So tedious. I took the opportunity to have a bit of a rest, but I'm glad to be back now with the Premier League starting again at the weekend and a huge, very tough game against Villa on Sunday at home. I'll be bringing you all the big Spurs transfer rumours from the past week or so, my thoughts on that Don Fabio Paratici news, and all of the rest of the Tottenham news in today's episode. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Do give this video a like on YouTube if that's where you're watching, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get going though. And I'll just start, I know I mentioned it at the top, but my God, honestly, it's been hard to deal with this international week. And look, I'm English, very patriotic Englishman when it comes to watching them play football, and a couple of great results and performances, but I just don't care. I don't care. There's kind of no kind of club football news really at the moment, or very little to kind of get you excited about. And yeah, it's just been kind of like counting the days until the Premier League is back. And I thought, should I do this video on Monday or Tuesday? But I thought, no, let's actually just let the international week properly get over. And thankfully, it's now all over and we can look ahead. Thomas Frank will be doing his press conference tomorrow before the Villa game, so it'll be interesting to see. And hopefully find out that all of the players have come back from their international duty unscathed. Obviously saw that Christian Romero was sent back to Spurs on a private jet, which shows a little bit how things are changing as well. Because you remember all the stories from back in the day about how Daniel Levy would insist on the players coming back on commercial airplanes. Apparently the Lewis family made sure that Christian Romero came back from his Argentinian duty on a private jet. So that's pretty good news. But let's get started with some transfer rumours. Tottenham apparently one of several Premier League sides keeping tab on Porto Scandinavian midfielder Victor Froholt. Tottenham, especially with Johan Lange, of course, the head of all things young player data recruitment, and now been promoted, of course, to sporting director alongside Don Fabio Paratici, which I'll talk about a bit more later. He loves a young Scandinavian player, though, Johan Lange. So Victor Froholt, keep an eye on him. Very highly rated midfielder at Porto now. But yeah, could be someone we're looking for down the line. Also, Spurs apparently willing to do whatever it takes, to sign attacking midfielder Arda Güler from Real Madrid. He also has interest from Arsenal, AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund, Newcastle, and Leipzig. Güler not getting a lot of game time, one of the most highly respected and rated young talents in Europe. And Tottenham, of course, over the last couple of years have had that transfer strategy. Can we bring in the best young players from across Europe, those who haven't been hoovered up by Chelsea anyway? It's kind of what I always thought we should go back to as a transfer strategy. I remember we used to do that in terms of young English talent in the early Daniel Levy days under firstly Frank Arneson, then Damien Comolli as our sporting directors. And then we kind of lost that a little bit. But I've always looked at Borussia Dortmund down the last 10, 15 years or so and seen how they've kind of tried to get the best young European talent, and that Tottenham should be trying to do that as well. Well, I think we're right to be doing that. And again, to kind of link to that Fabio Paratici news and the fact that both him and Johan Lange are going to be joint sporting directors now. Maybe it's that Lange can concentrate on trying to bring in these young Scandinavians, these young European talents, trying to get in ahead of those bigger clubs like we did with Bergvall when he had an offer from Barcelona. And then Don Fabio Paratici will concentrate more on his network, those opportunities like he got with Dejan Kulusevski and Rodrigo Bentancur from Juventus. Maybe kind of players who are a bit more ready straight away for the first team. And if we can get that mix perfect between the two of them, and obviously ideally have a decent amount of money to spend from the Lewis family as well, and an ability to up our wage profile, then that is something that could work. Although, I have to say the history of sporting directors or managers working in pairs isn't always that great. There's a lot of ego involved and it can be difficult, but let's see what happens. Tottenham also showing concrete interest in Can Uzun as a long-term target. Apparently monitoring his development the last few months with scouts in regular attendance during Eintracht Frankfurt games. The German club wants £60 million for the midfielder. £60 million is a fee we're willing to go to for players, but very rarely for super young players like that. Obviously, we spent 50 odd on Xavi Simons, a player who I'm very excited to see play, hopefully in the 10 again for the first time in a Premier League game at home against Villa at the weekend. I do think that's going to be an incredibly difficult game, by the way. Villa just starting to get their form together after a difficult start. where I think the club have suffered from the fact they weren't really allowed to do much in the transfer window. They've had some injuries and a little bit of a malaise from not getting into the Champions League at the back end of last season. But I think they'll come to Tottenham and they'll want to put in a great performance. And they've beaten us at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a few times, haven't they? So we're going to have to be careful with that one. Tottenham are also among the teams closely monitoring the development of Kevin Schade from Brentford. Obviously played under Thomas Frank at Brentford. Good player, forward player. That's from Plettigol in Germany, very well respected transfer source. Some people on social media pushing back against this link because they see Kevin Schade as a very similar player to Brennan Johnson. What I would say is if Thomas Frank wants a player, I trust him. He knows ball. I really like the way that he talks about football. I love his communication technique. And if he thinks Schade is exactly right for what he needs, then we should try and back him up and go and get him. Spurs and Napoli are two of the clubs leading the way for Kobbie Mainoo apparently as well, but Man United are expected to block all offers for the young midfielder. They want to keep him. He wants to leave, doesn't he? Ideally for him on a loan deal. He doesn't get on with Ruben Amorim. He doesn't feel like Ruben Amorim trusts him enough in central midfield. And he's leaving it a bit late to try and have a chance of getting into the England World Cup squad. Certainly players have jumped ahead of him in the pecking order since he's had that kind of fallout with Ruben Amorim. So I think it's January or bust for Kobbie Mainoo's chances of going to the World Cup. Is there an opportunity for Spurs to get him in on a six-month loan deal in January? Possibly. Let's see what happens. Also, some really reputable reports that the next thing that Vinay Venkatesham is trying to get done is a new contract for Mickey van der Ven. And I would be delighted to see that. What a player he is. Future captain material. He played some minutes at left back for the Dutch national team over this international break, something that a lot of Spurs fans were not delighted about because obviously him having to get up and down the wing all night, not great for his hamstrings. But from everything I've seen and heard, no reports of any injuries to Mickey van der Ven. So fingers crossed that remains the case. All right, let's talk a little bit about Don Fabio Paratici coming back. This was the statement from the club. We're delighted to announce the return of Fabio Paratici to the club as sporting director. Fabio will partner with Johan Lange, promoted to also become sporting director. This is part of a new structure for our men's football operation designed to strengthen leadership, collaboration, and long-term decision-making across all areas of the men's team and the boys' game, meaning the academy. Together, they will lead our men's football strategy and drive an ambitious new chapter for the club. This evolution forms part of the club's continued investment in world-class men's and women's football structure designed to deliver sustained on-pitch success. Again, key terms here. Ambitious new chapter for the club. They cannot, the Lewis family and Vinay, they cannot then behave in the same way in January as they have done under Daniel Levy. They cannot behave in the same way next summer as they have done over previous windows. They have to up the wage structure. Otherwise, all of this will come back to bite them. All of Vinay's comments in what is, I have to say, the communication from Tottenham Hotspur now has gone from zero under Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy being completely introverted, thinking it has to be a completely closed book with no stories or news coming out of the club hardly at all, apart from maybe an end of season statement that he would put in the final home game program, to now Vinay Venkatesham clearly going, we need to tell our fans about everything we're doing. And it's not just statements like this. He then did an interview with Ben Haynes, and then Fabio Paratici and Johan Lange did an interview with Ben Haynes. If you haven't seen them, it's worth a little look. And so Tottenham are definitely, in terms of their comms, really trying to make big changes. And you know, long may that continue. I think that's really positive, but they've got to back it up. And let me know in the comments, do you think they're going to back it up? Listen, I'll make it as simple as this. If they make changes in terms of how much money they're willing to spend on wages, that are changes as big as the amount of changes they've made when it comes to communication, then I will thoroughly believe that this really is a brand new chapter for the club and that they really are chasing these trophies. Because this is the other thing that Vinay keeps saying is like the Lewis family want more nights like that night in Bilbao. They want more days and nights like they had on the Tottenham High Road for the parade. And if they're going to do that, then they have to start matching the wage structure of those clubs who are miles ahead of us. Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, in terms of the money that's spent, they have to start trying to match that. And you have to say it would be wild and bonkers to have two sporting directors and pay them the kind of wages I'm sure they're on. Like, look, compared to footballers, Langer and Paratici are not going to be on, tens of millions of pounds a year, but they're going to be on a couple of million quid a year, especially Paratici. So Paratici, when he goes to his iPhone, he's got his iPhone headphones in and he's calling his network. I think for him to come back here at this point full time, maybe he hopefully has been excited by the fact that there's going to be more money to spend, so he's going to be able to try and buy a better quality of player. And look, Spurs, we have a young, hungry, exciting squad. With these young players all growing kind of together. Players like Matisse Tell and Wilson Odobert had good international break playing for the under-21s. Odobert scored a brace, I think, in at least one of those two games. Bergvall obviously is growing really well. Archie Gray, in fact, and Lucas Bergvall have both just been nominated for the top 30 in the Golden Boy Awards. So that shows how good they are. We've got Mohamed Kudus in. We've got Dom Solanke to come back, who I think will do wonders under Thomas Frank. I know Dom Solanke gets a bit of stick. But what I'm saying here is I think Spurs are only about 3 or 4 big signings. If we're willing to make big signings, like akin to the Kudus signing, like top of their class signings, if we got 3 or 4 of them in over the next year, I think we'd be there or thereabouts. I really do. I really do. Especially if you think about Kulusevski coming back, Maddison coming back to be fit. We're not that far away. And the way that the communication has changed from the club, like I said, again, just to reiterate, if they're willing to change the way they recruit to match those kind of level of changes from the communication, it could be a genuinely exciting time for the club. Now, I haven't done a video for about a week and a half. So since then, Tottenham also announced that ENIC or the Lewis family through ENIC have invested £100 million, which of course you'll know about, but let's just talk about it. This was a statement. We're pleased to announce that our majority shareholder, the Lewis Family Trust through ENIC, have injected £100 million of new capital into the club. The equity injection will further strengthen the club's financial position and equip the club's leadership team with additional resources to continue the focus on driving long-term sporting success. Again, key words here, keywords, long-term sporting success. This additional capital is part of the Lewis family's ongoing commitment to the club and its future. Now, let's look for some other keywords here from Peter Charrington, the non-executive chairman, who's basically taken charge of, I would say, the more money side of things from Daniel Levy. He said, as I stated a few weeks ago, our focus is on stability and empowering the management team to deliver on the club's ambitions. I know the Lewis family are also ambitious for the future. Today's capital commitment reflects that ambition, and I would like to thank them for their ongoing support. Ben Jacobs, a good journalist, also said, the money isn't solely a transfer kitty. The funds are with a view to creating financial strength and sustainability. And it's a sign that Tottenham are not for sale. This was another thing that came out from Alistair Gold afterwards. And obviously, if you don't follow Alistair Gold, make sure you do. He's the Don, the GOAT of Tottenham content. He talked about this being the first of the investments. Not just £100 million, because when I first read it, I was like, oh, why are they making a big song and dance about £100 million? Now, of course, £100 million is never to be sniffed at, but it's not going to touch the sides at the moment in terms of if they're going to try and change the recruitment policy. But Alistair Gold kind of dug around and found out this is the first. There's going to be a few of these kind of investments. And actually, it may be that you can't really invest and tell everyone about investing more than £100 million at a time because of some kind of financial rules that, I can't pretend that I know a lot about. So, again, talking about the messaging, they're being very transparent with us. They're being very clear with us. And they're telling us that there's going to be a lot of change at Tottenham Hotspur behind the scenes, which is already happening. We're seeing it. And they're alluding to us that it's all going to change in terms of transfer recruitment and squad building. And if it does, like I said, we're not that far away. We're not that far away. Okay, before I go on to some other news, once again, please, if you haven't already, do give this video a like. The more likes we get on YouTube, the more Spurs fans will see this video in their suggested videos. Really appreciate your support. Okay, Harry Kane has had another brilliant international window. He missed out on the first game against Wales, of course, but then scored a brilliant brace. The second goal, the left footer into the far corner for England, was fantastic. He is doing a lot of the rounds of press stuff at the moment. And he's been asked a couple of times about returning to Spurs. He said, I'm not sure if I'll go back. I'm very happy here in Munich. It's not something I'm thinking about. It'll always be we when it comes to Tottenham because I spent my whole life there. I'm a fan of theirs and will always watch them and see how they're getting on. They will always be a part of my life for sure. But as for now, I'm loving it here. It was great to see them win a trophy this year. I've got a lot of friends there with the players and staff. We know how long we waited and how close we'd come in the past. So it was big for everyone, the fans, the club, and all involved to have that feeling and get that one over the line. That's always important, and hopefully they can push on and win more. There's also a report that came out today through Team Talk that Spurs are trying to put together a huge bid to lure Harry Kane back to Tottenham Hotspur next summer. Harry Kane does, of course, have this release clause that becomes possible for an English club, I think maybe even in January, but if not January, definitely next summer, which is around £56 million. It's a very doable number, even though he'll be, 32, 33 then. But it's Harry Kane. He's different. He's like Ronaldo. He will play till he's 40. So that is money that is worth spending. And I've said it recently. I'll say it again. I don't think there's another English club for Kane to go to except Spurs. Man United even, they've bought Sesko. Liverpool have bought Isak. City have Haaland. Chelsea have bought Liam Delap. And I just don't think he'd go to Chelsea anyway. He wouldn't go to Arsenal. And I don't think he'd go to a Newcastle or a Villa. So I think Spurs is the only one to come back to. I think he does want the big Premier League record. The best chance for Spurs, genuinely, I think, to get Harry Kane back is if Bayern Munich won the Champions League. I think we should all, if we're not hoping that Spurs, if we're not thinking Spurs are going to win the Champions League this season, we should all be hoping Bayern Munich do it. I don't know if they're defensively sound enough to do it realistically. If I'd been Bayern Munich this summer, they've got such unbelievable attacking talent. Vincent Kompany gets them playing great football. Elise is absolutely unbelievable. Kane is the best striker in the world at the moment. If I were Bayern Munich, I would have gone all out to get Virgil van Dijk off Liverpool. I know he signed a new deal, but it was pretty late on. I wonder how hard Munich tried to get him, because he would have, I think, been the sauce, the cherry on the top for them to maybe put together a real Champions League push. So I can see why Harry Kane is saying he's enjoying it there. He's scoring mountains of goals, but I know he'll want to come back. And if he can get one of that big trophy, then I think he'll be like, now I can just go back and focus on the Premier League scoring record. If he doesn't win the Champions League this year, do I think that 2 Bundesliga titles will be enough? I don't know. I think if he comes back to the Premier League with 2 Bundesliga titles, there are still going to be people on the podcast and fans who don't like him being like, oh, he's never won a proper trophy. He's never won a big trophy. But that was the risk he took when he went to Bayern Munich. But if he came back to Spurs, what a declaration of intent that would be from the Lewis family. And I could see why they'd be pushing for that really hard. The other thing I'd say, I don't think Harry Kane is ever going to come out in an interview and say, oh, no, I'm going to go back to England. I'm going to go back to Spurs. He's too professional. He's so professional. He's the most professional footballer of my lifetime. And he would never do anything that would be rude to his employers. And I don't think Bayern Munich would see it as rude if he came out and said, oh, there's a place in my heart for Tottenham. Maybe one day I'll go back there. But I think he doesn't want to, because he's too professional. And also, probably he doesn't want to rule out all other possibilities. And for me, if I was Harry Kane, and look, maybe I wouldn't feel as strongly about the Premier League scoring record as he does, but I would look to go to Barcelona. I would look to go to Barcelona, honestly, and lead their line. Lewandowski's, coming to the end there, and he could just take over that mantle. Imagine Lamine Yamal just setting up bullets for him. He'd score millions in La Liga, absolutely millions, just like he is in Germany. But just to finish on Harry Kane, what I love is he's finally getting his flowers. Finally, now that he's left Spurs, people are finally saying, God, we didn't realize how good Harry Kane was. Well, we did. We all did, didn't we? We knew it. And we've, I've said it a few times before, but Tottenham fans have had to reevaluate what a good chance is. Because we're used to half chances going to Harry Kane and putting them away and us being like, yeah, that's a good chance. It's not. You see it with Richarlison now, a half chance. No, he doesn't put them away that often. So it would be a dream for me to have Harry Kane back. And I hope it happens. And I really genuinely think there's a good chance of it if he wants to come back to England, because I don't see there being anywhere else to go. And also, he clearly had a little bit of a falling out with Daniel Levy when Levy played his classic games towards the end of his Kane's stay at the club, locking him out of the training ground, changing the transfer fee, blah, blah, blah. Levy's gone now. Levy's properly gone. And also, I heard a little bit of a rumor about why Levy is gone. And I don't think I can legally say it, but this rumor that I heard that came from 2 people very close to the top of the hierarchy at Spurs. This rumor is that Daniel Levy was starting to really look out for himself in business negotiations regarding Spurs. Levy was starting to really look out for himself. That's the best I can do for you. But he's gone now, so I could see Harry Kane maybe getting maybe attracted by the idea of coming back to Spurs, coming back to the Premier League, being the main man. You know, him and Dom Solanke as rotational options as the 9. Harry Kane wouldn't have to play many cup games. He could just concentrate on the Premier League, basically do exactly what Alan Shearer did towards the back end of his career, where he gave up England. I don't think Kane will ever give up England. I think Kane will look at kind of Ronaldo's numbers for Portugal and want to carry on playing for England. And I think that's fine because he's never been a pace merchant anyway. And he can play in the like 10 role, 9.5, 10 role for as long as he wants. But I think Kane will be like, he'll come back to the Premier League maybe and we'll just rest his legs during the week and then just concentrate on the weekend games of the Premier League. Okay, some more transfer rumours. In recent days, apparently, this according to Fabrizio Romano, this was during the last week, Orlando's directors travelled to London to meet with people close to Richarlison and present him a long-term proposal to go to the MLS. He remains an important player for Spurs, and Orlando currently unable to offer it significant money, so a move is unlikely at the moment, but it's worth keeping an eye on because Spurs, as I've said, looking to potentially upgrade their striker situation. So I want to talk a bit about Mohamed Kudus' stats. I think he scored for Ghana. Ghana are into the World Cup, so it'll be exciting to watch him for Ghana next summer. He is currently the only player in Europe's top 5 leagues to complete at least 30 take-ons. No Premier League player has won more duels than him so far this season with 57. No Premier League player has provided more assists than him so far this season with 4. He's top of the assist charts. What a signing. He also came out with some quotes about Matisse Tell. He said, I want to give praise to Matisse because I think it's been a tough month, but how he carries himself in training, he's a top professional. And I think you can see when he got his chance, he was there, meaning that brilliant goal that Tell scored against Leeds. It shows how professional he is, the way he composes himself, manages himself, trains. He's still young, and with this mentality, it's really going to help him go far. I hope that this first goal he scored against Leeds is going to open more doors for even better games and more goals coming ahead. I'm really, really proud of him today. Listen, I think what's become clear with Tell is we need to get him in more positions just outside the box. Got an absolute rapier of a shot. Rapier, is that still a word? That sounds really bad, but it's not bad. But, you know, it's I think it's a term. I'm being stupid here, but I think it's a term meaning like something really fast. But anyway, he's got an absolute missile of a shot. Let's put it that way. And I think we should just try and get him into those brilliant positions outside the box. And some of that might be, if Wilson Odobert needs a rest, playing Tell off the left and getting him the ball and getting him to come inside onto his right foot from the left-hand side, similar to how Son Heung-min used to do. So I'm pleased that Mohamed Kudus spoke so well about Tell. Mohamed Kudus is having an unbelievable season. We need to wrap him in cotton wool, keep him fit. He's so vital to us. And I think now that Kudus scored his first goal for Spurs, we can expect hopefully the floodgates to open for him as well. Rodrigo Bentancur gave some quotes over the last 10 days or so. He said, we have a new manager and the captain is my friend, QT Romero. He deserves it to be captain of this club. I enjoy it so much. My teammates and every person here is amazing. Every player, I enjoy every day at this club because of them. My teammates are amazing, so I'm very happy. We want to win another trophy this season. That's the most important thing. I want to continue at this level. I think I feel every day I'm getting better and better, so I want to continue at this. And I want to win more trophies for the club. João Palhinha has also said the following: I'm very, very happy, very content with this new challenge in my life at Spurs, and therefore I just want to enjoy the Premier League to the fullest again. Just as I've been doing, and obviously in this space with the national team whilst I'm away, I can also enjoy every minute and every moment I have. He was asked about his time at Bayern. He said, I didn't get the chances I think I deserved. It was a difficult season last year for me. I was injured and I was out for longer than I expected. After that, I didn't get the chances I think I deserved, which also had an impact on my playing time with the national team. But these are phases. Our careers thrive on phases. Now I'm going through a happy phase, a new club, a new project in a league that's not new to me and that I'm enjoying once again. At Tottenham, I've had chances I didn't have before. I feel complete confidence in the people who wanted me to join the club, in this case, the manager. When we feel this confidence and that we're wanted somewhere, I think that's where we should be. I made this decision very easily. These chances are making me once again show what I'm capable of. I think it's vital that we play both Palhinha and Bentancur together in the double pivot against Aston Villa. Villa will try and hit on the break, but I think they'll also have a lot of possession as well. And then if we can play those two and then Xavi Simons in the 10, we should still have enough creativity with Simons and then Kudus on the right. And hopefully, I think Wilson Odobert on the left. He's shown me enough green shoots of exciting stuff on the ball that they can make a really exciting 3 in behind Richarlison until Dom Solanke comes back. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, Thomas Frank will have his press conference tomorrow, and hopefully he did say that after the international break we'd have more news on Dominic Solanke's fitness, so hopefully that won't be too long. It was supposed to be a minor bit of surgery, so I'm hoping maybe a month, 6 weeks, but I'd be very surprised if it was much less than that. We need Solanke to come back. We miss him. We will be so much stronger with him. His hold-up play is elite. Tottenham are eyeing a loan reset with Mikey Moore. Obviously, Rangers have sacked the manager, Russell Martin. Spurs understood to have the option to recall him from his loan move. No immediate plans to do so, but a number of championship clubs believed to be keen on signing the teenager. This according to the Standard. Moore has made 10 appearances across all comps, 6 coming from the start, but is yet to score or assist for Rangers. Josh Barry, editor of the Rangers Review, said the issue is because Rangers have been such a basket case, they're relying on these guys to be the ones who lead them. That's too much for anyone, even if you are one of the most talented, most promising talents in England, like Mikey Moore. So Tottenham keeping a close eye on Mikey. I was never sure that the Scottish Premier League was ideal for Mikey Moore. I get that playing in front of big crowds is a good option for him, but also the moment it starts going bad, you know, you're a young player, you're likely to sink. You don't have the experience to back it up, and you're likely to be benched. And that's kind of what's happened to Mikey Moore. Radu Dragusin has given some quotes about his ACL injury and his return. He is back on the grass. He said, Lucescu, the Romanian manager, wanted me back in the team, of course. I wanted to be together with my teammates again and to play for Romania. But on the other hand, I understood that a couple of weeks more, a month more of waiting, it will help me for the future. So he didn't go to the Romanian national team. Of course, I think I'm ready now, but in the long term, it will help to have more stability and safety for a longer career. Tottenham are taking all measures to make me come back stronger than before. I tell you, I'm going to come back in a better shape than I was before the injury and in a better point to continue my career. The ACL is one of the worst injuries in football, if not the worst. You need a longer time to recover than most people imagine. You cannot doubt what the medical staff of Tottenham are doing, or the physiotherapists, or especially the surgeon who did the surgery. They have the best knowledge and the greatest experience. So that sounds like Spurs are being wise with Radu Dragusin, just getting him out on the grass, but not making him play until that knee is properly strong. And I don't know, this links me nicely onto James Maddison's YouTube channel. If you haven't watched the YouTube video that Maddison released in the last 10 days about his recovery and how devastated he was after getting his ACL out on that tour in South Korea. It's a brilliant video. You have to watch it. It's incredible insight into the mental health of a top-level footballer. And James Maddison is so open and so vulnerable. It is one of the best YouTube videos I've ever seen. And, you know, you get an insight. You see into the surgery, you know, where the surgery is. You see what the surgeon says to him. He talks about, the surgeon talks about how the quickest he's had someone come back is 6 months, but it's usually 8 months. And I feel like that's what Dragusin is saying. Is like, he feels he's ready. It's been about 6 months, but actually if they wait another month or two to get the strength up in that knee, then it's less likely that he will do it again. And that is the key point for any ACL. Do not do it again in the same knee, because that can cause real trouble. So for Madders, I said it when he got injured, I would just... He was saying in this video, maybe he'll be able to play some games towards the back end of the season. I would bin off this season and just use it as physio and then come back strong next season. He'll be 29, really hitting his prime, come back with a great preseason, get the strength in the knee and not worry about it. But his YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to it. It's absolutely brilliant. So incredible to see proper insight from a current playing footballer. And Madders is the perfect one to do it because... he's just such an amazing personality and just comes across as such an honest, transparent guy. Speaking of injuries, on Sunday, Yves Bissouma came straight on the pitch off the bench for Mali and then was tackled and looked like he did maybe even an ACL himself straight away. Tried to get back on his feet, but left the field on a stretcher, holding his head with both hands. He has since released a message on, I think, his Instagram saying, you know, he'll come back stronger from this and you know, that God... you know, tests them and stuff like this. But with his contract running out in 6 months and he was nowhere near Thomas Frank's plans anyway, I wonder if we've seen the last of Yves Bissouma in a Spurs shirt. What else have we got? Just one last thing, which was, of course, I haven't done a video since Brooklyn Eric pulled out of his supposed bid for the club, the former Ibiza DJ. He said this about it, said, it's been a privilege engaging with Tottenham Hotspur and the Lewis family's representatives over the past few months. I have great respect for the club, its leadership and its supporters and wish them nothing but success. So, you know, a lot of people saying that maybe it was more of a PR strategy for Brooklyn Eric rather than any definitive interest in the club. And yeah, all the communication coming out of the club is that the Lewis family really do want this to happen and they want to be seen as good owners. So they're going to have to do a lot to change it so that they're not seen in the same light as their father, Joe Lewis, and Daniel Levy, of course. But I'm willing to give them a chance. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. If you haven't already, please do give this video a like. Do subscribe to the channel. Also, I will be on BigUp for watch-alongs for every Tottenham game, starting again with Villa on Sunday. So all the details of how to join my community on BigUp are in the description box below. Also, I will be doing a pre-match live show on YouTube. That will be from 1:15 on Sunday. So that is where I'll bring you all the team news and the news from Thomas Frank's press conference, which will be tomorrow. But until then, of course, most importantly, come on, you Spurs.